Yeah, hi guys, this is Devdutt Mukherjee. So we all know about how the coronavirus is affecting India, and this is basically a small effort from my end to uh, convey people like how exactly this virus is impacting India. I mean, we all know that it has got a lot of adverse effects on countries like Italy, US, and UK, and many others. But like we know that India is a big country. It's almost with 1.3 to 1.4 billion people living here. So if this virus spread is not stopped, and if India goes into stage 3, it'll be like disastrous for India. That's why it's very important to nip this virus early in the bird stage. And yeah, so basically what I have done here is I've collated the information which was provided in the government website. So I mean that information that we get is kind of very it's just without any visualization, so it becomes very difficult to comprehend the information. So yeah, so it's basically a small endeavor from my end to understand and analyze the data that is being generated and that's being shared by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfares. So yeah, let's proceed. Okay, so let us quickly understand what's happening. So this report is the India COVID-19 report. So what's happening is this gets refreshed on a daily basis. So the Ministry of Health and the MOH FW, that is the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, they refresh the data on a daily basis. I'm pulling the records data that is getting generated from their end through some APIs, and I'm just analyzing the data that's they're producing. Okay, that's they're generating, sorry. Okay, so what's happening is you can see this report is still like, I mean, if we try to analyze here, we can understand this is the current scenario of India. So we can easily understand here that the states in India which are mostly affected are Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Delhi, and many others are there. Like, even though there are some states which are not affected as much as like these ones, but it is important to understand that a lot of states in India have been affected because of this. And specifically, this is not the picture alone. If you see, if I scroll right, you will see even in some areas, uh, even in some areas like the eastern part of India, there are a lot of other states which have also been affected, the Northeast specifically, and also Andaman. Now, what's interesting about this is that if you see in Andaman, Nicobar, we have like 10 confirmed cases and 10 are active. So we do not see any kind of improvements here. Likewise, in the case of Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Manipur, Mizoram. So most of the eastern states in India, if people are getting affected, it's very hard for them to recover, because probably which we can say probably is that there are a lot of maybe there's lack of healthcare facilities or equipments there. That's why, or maybe people are not maybe lack of hospitals or skilled doctors, things like that, which is probably the reason why if you see that people getting affected because of this are not recovering. I mean, in other states, if you see, I'll quickly move to these states. Like for example, the recovery rate is highest in Maharashtra with 42 people who have recovered so far, and Kerala it's 41, then Haryana it's 24. So people are recovering well in some of the states, but in those states we do not see any kind of signs for recovery, which is alarming. So we need to take care of that. Government must check. But the good part is these states are affected very sparsely. So you can see only few cases. So it's better if government takes an action at the early stage, so that the 2 or 3 people who have been affected, the virus spread can be stopped. And that is way, I mean, if the spread is less now and it is tackled early on in the stage, then it's better. So it's very important for the government to take extra attention and help eradicate this spread of the virus in states where it is very less as of now. And I mean, it's like we solve these easy ones first, and then we go to the higher ones, I mean, difficult ones. So that way we can stop. So that's a very important thing. Now, another thing which we notice is that the death rates is highest in case of Maharashtra, which is 24. Next is Gujarat. Now, another important concept here you can see here is that the total number of cases, like this graph shows the total number of cases versus the cured. Now, you can see Gujarat, the number of people who have been affected, the total active cases in Gujarat as of now is like only 91, and people who have recovered so far is 14. So 14 plus 91, it's that's 105, I believe. Now, out of 105, 10 people have died. So the ratio of survival is not very high in Gujarat. that says that even if people are not getting affected much, but if a person gets affected, chance of survival is comparatively less because the rate of deaths are highest. I mean, the death rate is quite high in case of Gujarat compared to Maharashtra, where more people have been affected, but number of people who have been who have died is less comparatively. So the death ratio in Gujarat is quite high, which also makes me explain this part that, I mean, probable reason can be people maybe in Gujarat are mostly the elderly people, and we also know that elderly people are getting affected. So probably the Gujarat communities where the spread of the virus has happened is probably, and the deaths are probably in areas where people are quite aged. So even if they're not recovering well, in some cases can be recovering. For example, you can see Gujarat 14 people have recovered, but 10 have died. So probably, I mean, this is uh, just a hypothesis that probably the young people who have actually brought the virus in Gujarat got recovered, but because in Gujarat a lot of people are there who are aged, they are getting affected very seriously. Okay, so this is one thing. Then in Maharashtra, we'll focus on some of these states like Delhi, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, and Kerala, because those are the important ones which are causing a lot of issues. And as of now, today is, I mean, I'm just recording the video on, it's just 5th, but it's 5th of April, and the time is almost like 1 a.m. So the new data has not refreshed for 5th. So what I'm actually explaining, or the data that I have at the moment, is mostly data for 4th April. So as of 4th April, we can see that there are like 75 deaths, 213 people have been cured or discharged, and there are 1,000 plus cases, 1,072 to be exact, who have been affected by the virus. Now, we will analyze more about how the trend is in India, and then we'll specifically deep dive into some of the states and see how the condition is. Yeah, but just we can see this. This is the deaths that we have in India, then state-wise, then we have this one. This is a high-level overview. At the first glance, we can see that the conditions in these states, Delhi, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, and Kerala is not good. So we have to understand what exactly is the reason. Okay, now we're talking about India. Let's see the daily trend. Okay, now people have seen, I mean, I have been sharing these graphs, but it's difficult sometimes to comprehend what's the meaning or hidden information that is lying inside it. I mean, it's quite easy to understand, just display a bunch of graphs, but if we can analyze this information, that will be like very helpful. So what you can see is the total number of confirmed cases, as I mentioned, is almost like 2,092. Sorry, 3,072. So that's as of April 4th, right? So as of April 4th, we have like 3,000 cases. Now, if we analyze this graph, it's very important. Let's see. Okay, so this data that we have at the moment has been gathered since March. So we have the data from available since March 10. Okay, so from 10th March, it took almost around okay, it's 29. So you can see as of 29, it's just touching the 1K mark. Here you can see it's just touching the 1K mark. So it took almost from 10 to 29, that is 18 days to get to the first 1,000 cases approximately. Okay, so we did quite well initially to stop the virus spread. So it took 18 days for the virus to spread and increase the number of cases to 1,000. But the problem is after the 19 days, you can see from 29th, the second 2,000 cases, that is 2,069, occurred on 2nd April, which is like from 29. So it's like 30, 1st, 1, and 2. So in 4 days, initially what it took 18 days to get to the number 1,000, it took just nearly 4 days to get to the next 1,000. And what's quite surprising is, again, from 2nd April to 4th April, we have got our next 1,000. So this is quite serious, guys. So we have to be very careful, rely on social distancing, and prevent the spread of virus as soon as possible, because excuse me. So it took 18 days for the first 1,000 patients, I mean, for the first 1,000 confirmed cases in India. Then it took nearly only 4 days for the next 1,000, and it took 2 days. And I'm not surprised if that number increases exponentially, because you can see this graph is an exponential graph. So the next 1,000 numbers can be in 1 day. So in the upcoming days, if this is not checked, we can get, let's say, 1,000 cases on a single day. And it is not a joke. I mean, that I'll come to this number very soon. Now, the next thing is we can see the total number of recoveries so far. It is like 213. So this is not a good sign, because you see the number of recoveries is less compared to the number of cases that are increasing on a daily basis. Now, talking about the deaths, we still have done good here, because it's still under 100, even though I'll say for a country like India, which has a huge population, this number is kind of insignificant, but still we have to make sure that we do not, we keep check of this virus and prevent people from dying. Okay, now this is the increase. So we can see initially when we are seeing this, suddenly it has drastically increased. What is this cause? So if we analyze this deeply, we can see initially on 10th, the initial increase in the cases were like in between, like somewhere in between 50s. So from in the first 10 days, from 10th of March to 20th of March, the cases were like it is increasing by 50 on a daily basis. So that's quite that we are like keeping check of it. Now we were still doing good. We were still doing good, and suddenly we can see from 30. So we can say from 10th of March to almost like 26th or 27th, the cases were within less than 100. I mean, initially it started off with between 30s to 50s, then slightly increased to more than 50s. You can see there's a steady growth. So there's no cases here which is less than 50 or something like that. So initially it started off with 30s, then it went to the range of like 50 to 80, 90s, and then suddenly there's a drastic increase. So you can see on a single day, that is 28th March, the number of cases increased to 185. So that is the first highest increase on a day. So from the beginning, so from 10th of March to 28th, that was the highest peak that we can get. Then after that, you can see the range was almost like consistent again. It was almost touching 200. So initially started off with 30s, then 50s, 100s, and then on a daily basis, we are getting cases of like 200s. Suddenly, there's a drastic jump. From 200, it becomes double. So you can see from 200, it becomes like 150 to 200, and then 400. Okay, so that's what is the power of like that. That's quite serious because it's doubling up every time. So from 50 to 100, 100 to 200, 200 to 400. So this is quite something that we have to worry about. So you can see like this is 400, and now on a single day, 4th April, number of cases which increased to 600. So just imagine initially when the cases were just 30s, and now every day we are getting cases of like 600s. Okay, that is the number of increase in the cases. And as I mentioned, it took 2 days to get to 1,000 to the next 1,000, right? So what it contributed was the 6,000 on 4th and the 400 on 3rd. So this total combines to 3rd and 4th combines to 1,000 cases on just 2 days. And if we see about the recovery, we are recovering like mostly we can see the recovery rate was increasing on a daily basis. Initially, the first good thing that we found is like 10 increases. So probably before that, people were not aware of how to treat the patients. Then probably because of the medical advancements like the malaria and the HIV treatment. So probably they administered those to the patients and just waited for the results to check. And probably, hopefully, it was showing some good improvements. And people who were also in the quarantine were recovering because of their strong immunity. I mean, probably low. I mean, people who are not so aged. So the increasing was like the increase in discharge or recoveries was like 10. After that, if you can see, sorry, we did good. And again, consistently, we have now learned how to recover 10 people on a single day. So that is we are at the moment. And like on an average, if we see from the start till 3rd of April. So today is the highest hike. That is 4th of April, like 50 cases of discharge. So people are improving. And on an average, you can see if we consider 25 or something like that. So we can understand that if it takes just 2 days to reach 2,000 and number of recoveries on a single day is 25, so how long will it take to recover like 1,000 patients? So it will almost take like, I don't know, 1,000 cases. So if we do the math, we can see that if it takes like, if we consider 25 on a single day, so it will probably take how many? 25 into 400, 40 days. Yeah, almost like 40 days to recover 1,000 people. Okay, so and in those 40 days, we see per day if it takes 1,000 cases increase per 2 days, we see 1,000 case increase. So by those 40 days, 20,000 more people would have been affected, right? This is quite serious. So almost like 40 days to recover, to help improve the conditions of um, like 1,000 to improve the increase the number of discharges or recoveries to 1,000. So 1,000 recoveries will take 40 days approximately as per this data, as per the current trend. So by that 40 days, 20,000 more people seriously will get affected. You can see because these numbers are not going down. So we don't know if it increases by, if some point of time the rate of increase will become 1,000 on a specific day. But by now it's like 1,000 on 2 days. So if we take that, it takes like in every 40 days we are recovering 1,000 people, but within the time frame, almost like so many patients, 20,000 people are still getting affected. So that's very bad. So this is quite serious. And the deaths, you can see, deaths are also very alarming. Initially, the deaths were less, but suddenly, if you see that initially the deaths were less, but it was in the range of less than 5 deaths on a single day. But now, post 29th, it has seen a stagnant, right? It does not come down. So this means on an average nowadays, people are dying almost like 6 to 9, or like this is 12 to 13. So 10 cases on an average, 6 to 10 is at the current time like number of deaths on a single day. That is quite bad. Okay. So this is the overall picture of India. That just to summarize, that at the moment it is taking like 18 days to come to the first 1,000, then it took just 4 days, and the next 1,000 cases just took 2 days. And I'm not surprised if it takes 1 day, like sometimes, to reach to a next 1,000, right? So okay, so that is very important, and we need to be prepared. So yeah, now why we can see that, okay, on 2 specific days, that is 475, analyze, okay, what is wrong on the 1st of April, and also on these 2 days, 1st April, 2nd April, 1st to the 4th of April, we'll analyze that. Okay. So the next is the daily trend analysis that we are going to perform now. Okay, so if we talk about the daily trend analysis, okay, so what we have seen so far is okay, so we know that from 1st to 4th, the number of cases have increased drastically, and we know the states which are worstly affected. Okay, so you can see again, if I come back to this one, like Maharashtra, Delhi, Chennai, and Tamil Nadu and Kerala. So we'll analyze these states. So probably these are the states which were responsible for increasing the number of casualties or number of patients or number of cases on that spike day. That is from 400 to 600, something like that. So if we talk about one by one, one is, I'll start off with Tamil Nadu. This is the Tamil Nadu trend. Let's see. Okay, so if we analyze this, we see something important. So cases in Tamil Nadu at the moment is 411. Okay, and from 21st March, this is the last 15 days it is taking. Okay, so last 15 days, now it's almost like 4th. So from 21st, I mean, initially Tamil Nadu was nowhere, right? I mean, it was just 3 cases, and even on 21st March, then even on 31st March, so just 4 days back, 4 to 5 days back, it was nowhere in the picture, right? But suddenly we see the number of cases increases drastically. So 234. So till here, it was still number of increases on a single day in Tamil Nadu was like very less, almost like 7, 6, 5. So it's very less. Suddenly on 1st of April, 160 cases all at a single moment. That's quite bad, right? This is the reason why because of those 160 cases, it suddenly rose. Okay, then it was no cases on second day. Then we have then we have 75 cases, and we have 102 cases. So because of these 3 cases, it has almost become a contender for Maharashtra and Kerala, so and Delhi as well. So this is quite alarming. So initially it was not there. Something is wrong. So probably people or the government can do what they can do is analyze on 1st April why the increase was more. Now, one more important thing is, we know that the quarantine period is of 14 days. So if I catch a virus today, after 14 days, it'll going to show me, oh, okay, if I am positive or negative. So probably 1st of April. So if I subtract 14 days, so 14, almost like 16th of March. So that time people probably have caught the virus and they were not aware of it. They traveled somewhere. I mean, people have been traveling, probably those people. If we see on 14th, if there are any people who have been traveling to Tamil Nadu or something like that, and probably those are the people the ones who have become the casualties and might be resulting in the increase suddenly after the 14 days. So we have to check that. So this is the case in Tamil Nadu. So you can see initially the numbers were pretty less, right? From 10th of March till it was very less. Suddenly, all of a sudden, it's like 102, 75, 160. So this is quite bad, right? This is quite bad. And the next is recoveries. What we see is it's 6. So still not good, I'll say. Deaths, I mean, I can say that Tamil Nadu is doing good. It is, even though many people are affected. I mean, probably the government is not doing anything. Otherwise, people would have recovered so far. And so today is the cases have increased suddenly on 1st April. So probably after the next 14 days, we can see if these people improve or not, right? And if that number comes down, then we can still confirm that, okay, government is still relying on proper measures to prevent to check the spread of this virus, and people are recovering slowly. So probably I'm expecting that after the 14 days, this recoveries will increase slightly. Okay, let's go to the next one, which is Maharashtra. Okay, so you can see the total number of cases in Maharashtra is 490, out of which 448 are active, 42 recoveries, 24 deaths. So in case of Maharashtra, what we can see is the recoveries are quite right. So it's kind of it is doing the best recoveries in terms of like all states at the moment, but it is also compromising on some kind of steps because of which the deaths are increasing. So it's almost half the recoveries. And so probably I'm just assuming it is possible that they have tried on some measures which were initially effective, and that's why recoveries were more. If we see the recovery rates, so suddenly on initially there were no recoveries from 21st March till 26th. After that, drastically, people were, 14, then you have 10, then you have again nothing. So few days, people are recovering. The number of recoveries all of a shot in one shot is quite big. So that's quite good, but probably I don't know if these vaccines or something, whatever they're doing, these are not getting applied or maybe not working effectively for people who are elderly. That might be the reason why it is not showing any results. That depends upon what's the age of that person in the next fresh slot who have caught the virus. So, but here in case of Maharashtra, another alarming thing is initially it started off with just 11, 12 cases, any cases which was below 100, right? Almost in the 50s till here, okay? From 10th of March to 31st March. So for 20 days, they managed to do a fairly good job, right? Number of cases were not so high, but all of a sudden it peaked up, right? And this is still last 15 days. So probably before that, some cases were there more. If we see, we do not have, okay, let's see. It is 21st March. So what happened prior to that? Okay, so 21st March. So it is 11th, right? And so before that also I can see the worst case, which was on 15th, 18 cases, but it was like increasing on a very gradually. It's not exponential, but here it has taken the toll. So on Maharashtra, on 4th, it has alone responsible for 155. Okay, so that is quite dangerous. Okay, and yeah, so recoveries is good. Good compared to other states, but not so good. Yeah, but the deaths are increasing on a rough basis of, like, you can see in Maharashtra, the deaths are almost like fluctuating anywhere between 4 to 8 on a daily basis. So we need to bring this down at least for a few days. There shouldn't be any deaths, so as to preserve the ratio. Okay, now the next is Delhi. Okay, what's wrong with Delhi? It is 445 cases from 21st. If it was 9 on 21st, I can easily assume that before that there was almost like no cases, right? Almost very few. So from 9 to it was still under 67, 55, 67, no increase. All of a sudden 226 cases on 4th April. This is alarming. This is the highest, I believe, as of now, number of cases. So if we compare to this graph, so this is the highest, okay? So this is quite interesting. So Delhi is probably the reason why India witnessed a sharp increase on that specific day, and the deaths are also like kind of stagnant, so it's nothing to discuss. We have to make sure that we keep this as flat as possible, and these kind of steep increase or rise is actually very much bad, okay? So we have to be very careful. So Delhi was doing good till 3rd. Okay, now this is very important. So if we just analyze this, so this graph is almost similar to the India trend, right? So if we go to the India trend, we see that the highest number of cases were occurring on 1st of April, 1st, 3rd, and 4th. So if we go here quickly, and if we select by number of cases, okay. So here you can see most of the cases, as I mentioned. So who was responsible for the first case? So if we quickly go, so this rise, which was on 1st April, we'll analyze from 1st till 4th. So okay, so we can see that 4th April, so Delhi has now seen the highest number of jumps as of now as of till today. So there hadn't been any increase in such cases. So this is a record-breaking number, and these 226 alone was responsible for Delhi's sudden spike. Okay, so this is something important. And if we talk about 1st April, so I'll just quickly sort by this one. Okay, so if we analyze 1st of April, so we can see that, okay, who was primarily responsible? 55 Delhi, 43 Andhra, 86 Maharashtra. So Maharashtra and Delhi, both of them were responsible for the first spike on the 1st of March. Sorry, it's Tamil Nadu. It's way beyond. So Tamil Nadu alone was responsible for 160 new cases on the 1st of April. So that is quite interesting. So the first spike, the states that were responsible, Tamil Nadu 160, Maharashtra 86, number of cases increase. Then it was Delhi, and then we have Andhra. Okay, so this is something important. On the second, let's see what's happened on the second. Okay, if we see something, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Kerala, Delhi again. Delhi is the culprit. Okay, so Delhi has been responsible for the subsequent spikes on every day. And we can see that in Delhi, a lot of casualties are increasing on a daily basis. So it is quite interesting from this report that Delhi is something which government should be eyeing on very and monitoring very closely, because in all the successive increase, Delhi has been playing a major role. So if we see the next one, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan. So the 3rd of April, so suddenly in Rajasthan and Uttar Pradesh. So we'll have to see whether people from these Delhi and there were people from Delhi, Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra have moved to Rajasthan or Uttar Pradesh, and probably those infected people were increasing the number. So again, Tamil Nadu, because you can see Tamil Nadu, Rajasthan, which was not there in the picture, Telangana, these people are, these states see a quite high spike. And on the last day, we see Delhi again, 226, nowhere close, right? So Delhi has been consistently increasing, Delhi and Maharashtra. So we have to be very careful about these cases. And yeah, this is the analysis that I had been working on. Hopefully, I have tried my best to convey this message that if we do not check this, it's not far from now that we'll see that number of cases going till 1,000 every day, and states for like Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, things like that. And if people from these states move to other states which were nowhere in the picture, okay. So if we just for curiosity's sake, I'll quickly show you something interesting. If we just go to Rajasthan, so Tamil Nadu, we can see suddenly all of a sudden it increased and now it's spreading. Rajasthan was also nowhere in the picture, right? But suddenly it is showing cases increase. So probably people from these infected states have been moving to Rajasthan, which might be the reason that suddenly spike in cases. And we see now no deaths as of now, so it is doing fairly good. I mean, Rajasthan is doing quite good. You can see like 200 cases, 121 recoveries, no deaths. So this is quite important. Yeah. So again, coming back to this one, I see that we need to stay indoors as of now. I mean, I know the lockdown is in place, but it's quite hard for people, I know. But this is the purpose. I mean, the main idea for me to present this was to spread awareness among people that, okay, I mean, they are getting this information that every day you're getting like total increase in something, like today it's 2,000 or 7,000. But what I try to do is do something different from what's being conveyed from the news. So what I'm doing is just not displaying facts, but analyzing the data with you guys, right? And I'm not just giving you any kind of information. So these are all based on the data, analyzing the trends, understanding where we have increases, which states are responsible, what are the probable reasons why this is happening. So that was the purpose. So if we can understand this, then probably we will appreciate the fact that we have to be very careful and cautious while talking to others or meeting others. I mean, we should avoid totally as of now. We can see if this is not checked, it's increasing 1,000 a day, almost like 1,000 in 2 days. So we can understand if we are going out for buying groceries, we do not know, okay, like if you go today, there might be 1,000 people who have been affected. If you go to tomorrow, there might be 2,000 people affected, right? So the chances every day, every time you go out, increases of you catching this virus, okay? So this is quite important. So be careful, and as long as possible, stay indoors. I know it's difficult, not of a regular life or routine life, but we have to forget everything and think that, okay, this is the new life for some time. This is going to be hard, challenging, but together we can definitely do it. And yeah, try to make sure that you take care of your family, and quarantine is very important. So just follow that. And as per the guidelines, just keep following. Don't, I mean, we can see government was doing quite well. From, I mean, 25th, it was announced. And then after that, it was still doing good, but if we quickly see the trend once again, so lockdown was announced on 25th. Okay, no doubts about that. So before that, whatever had to happen had already happened. So this increase that we see, these increase that we see suddenly. So if it's 25th, 606 to 1,000 after. So after the lockdown, we have moved from 606 cases to 1,000, 3,000 cases. That's not a joke. That's almost like 2,500 cases, and it's hardly been like 10 days. So this is probably because of the negligence from people. I mean, if something is conveyed, people have to understand, rationally understand what's happening and why we are supposed to do it. It's not about challenging the government. I mean, we are getting appreciations from WHO. I mean, we all know. I mean, if possible, I will explain in a later video why social distancing is actually helping. It's not a theory. Even if we talk about it, it's not a story. It's not some kind of a magic trick. It's properly based on statistics, and this is basically kind of a theory. Okay, so just like you have game theory, you have some other theories which are having statistical proofs. This social distancing is kind of a theory which is based by statistics. So that is why it was, I mean, out of all possible scenarios, it was noticed that social distancing actually decreases the chances of the spread. That is why it's important. And we are seeing that if we are not maintaining it's increasing. Straightforward is increasing. So if we still do not understand and realize the importance of this virus and importance of being healthy, it'll be very difficult to save India because the population is so huge, right? It's huge, it's enormous. So be careful and think rationally before doing any kind of things, right? So just take care of yourself, your family, stay indoors, and yep, we'll see you again. Bye.